Okay, perfect. Okay, so data import and custom fields, like I mentioned before, like you can have your own data import file with variety of custom fields. Organimi can help you create and update your chart in minutes, and Organimi's data import feature is that you can have any kind of unique fields that aren't in Organimi, and what we call is do-it-yourself, DIY custom fields. And then, of course, like I said, that you can make those fields been public or private, that you can do those settings on the app, and you can add those custom fields on your import file. So how do you make it private and public is what Brett is going to give us a walkthrough of how do you create your custom fields. But I'll give you a walkthrough of how do you have those on your data import file, and then you're ready to go in to build your chart in Organimi. Right, so Brett, I'll go ahead and start sharing my screen. Thank you. Okay, so I'm on the app already. The first that you see is that you can create your new organization and to start your chart, which means you can build your chart in any of the organizations that you create here. How do you manage your organizations is something that I'll walk you through in the last topic, which is user management and account billing. Right now, what I can give you through is how do you import your data files. So you click on new chart here, and then you do a data import. You click on import chart here, and then you can have it in your organization, or you can create your own organization as well and click on select. I'm going to be choosing this to do it in my own organization. Here is when we give you steps of how do you manage your data import into the app. You can have a CSV, Excel, or a Google Sheet. We also give you some guides here, which means we give you how to watch an import video guide here and how do you create your sample CSV file from here. I'm going to be choosing my own sample CSV that I have here that I'm going to showcase to you guys, which also has the custom fields. And then I'll go to the next step, which is how do you import that in Organimi. So I'll quickly open up my file here, which is, okay, perfect. All right, so this is the CSV or the file that I have to import with all the custom fields that I have here. So I've built up the reporting relationship, which means the ID and the parent ID. What I mean here is this is how you're going to be establishing your reporting relationships. What kind of a role card are you creating at this point in time? Are you trying to create a single role card, a department role card, or a location role card? You can define colors as custom fields also on your import file, which means you can put your hex codes here and just have the color coding while you import the data file into the app. You can have, and you can then turn that on for the rest of the custom fields as the rest of the role cards as well. Um, I have a department name column here, which identifies that which department do they belong to, and from there, the hierarchy of the entire org structure would start. Similarly, you will see that there are custom fields like dotted line reporting, like it's called as dotted IDs. If there is a certain person reporting into a dotted line person in the chart, you would just put up their identity number here, so they know that this person has a dotted line reporting into somebody else. Yeah, the first name, last name, email is pretty self-explanatory. That you can have that as a custom field for yourself. You can have a phone number. Do you want to add a member description? I don't have one, so I left it blank. So because I wanted to give you an idea that if you have blank columns, it would still work for you. So don't get flustered or panic that if you have blank columns. You have LinkedIn IDs here. I've just added one LinkedIn URL here at this point in time to show you that how it would reflect on your role card. Job title is pretty self-explanatory. You can have your job description here as well. It depends what description what you want to have. On your role card, you can have location address like Chicago, Miami, France, India, depending on where they are. You can have a custom field called as attachments, just in case if you wish to add resumes, which is like an attachment to that particular role card, you can just place the link where the attachment is on your computer, and then you're good to go while you import the data file on the app. If you have certain healthcare certified people, which means we are just out of COVID at that point in time, you wanted to know the status of everybody, you can have that as true or false if they're healthcare certified or no. You can put in their hire date, and you can also put their work status, which means it's full-time, part-time. So this is like a variety of all kind of custom fields that we have right now, like from attachments to bio links, to hire dates and etc. So I'm going to be importing this file in Organimi right now to tell you how you'll be able to build your chart, and then how you can also show these custom fields on your roll card. So I go back to the app here. I'm going to be doing an upload CSV. I'll pick up the CSV that it's been saved on my desktop drive here. Click on open. You can give your chart a name here. So let me call it as webinar chart. So we have two varieties of charts here, that's traditional and matrix. What I'm going to be focusing right now is the traditional one with the custom fields that we have. But of course, you are feel free to go ahead and try the matrix charts as well that we have as option for you, and another type of chart that we have. You can also auto build your departments. I believe you saw a department column on my import file, which means somebody's from engineering, sales, etc. So you can auto insert those department roles into the roll card and just select the department header. That's possibly the right one from the pickup list. So I'll just take as a department name, and then yeah, go ahead and click on apply options. Yeah, you would see all of those columns that I had on my import file getting matched on the app right now. The system uses its intelligence to match each of those columns, and then you would see all of those turned into blue. But the ones that don't get matched, you will also be able to identify those because the system is intelligent enough to let you know in a different color code, which is orange here. So you would just have to match these columns to the right custom fields that you have on your data import file, and just select the right one from the drop down here. So what you can do is you can create a custom field for yourself from here. So when you create your own custom field from here, you can have an option, like I said, that you have a DIY or you have like a ready-made field. And if you need a resume, which means it's an attachment, right? So you just call this field right from here and call it as a resume. We give you an option whether it's applied to a person or it's applied to a role. This is applied to a person because it's a resume of a person. And then you can turn this on as private or public, which means private fields are confidential, only to account owners and administrators are viewable. Less privileged users would not be able to view this custom field. And then I just click on add field here. And then I would be able to select that from the pickup list here, which you see as resume, and then it got properly matched. And I click on validate data format because you have everything else being correctly matched in from your import file into Organimi. And yeah, there you go. This is like an onboarding tour we give you. Click on complete and just say complete data import. And in just fraction of seconds, you would see your chart being built and absolutely ready for you with the departments that you have here. Sorry, I double counted the departments because I took it the very first time. So that's another use case, that if you have a department in your import file, do not select the header. That's the step that you saw on the first page, right? And then you would see all the color codes that you have here at this point in time, because you added those hex codes on your custom field. You added like a LinkedIn icon that you will be able to see here because that was a part of your import file again. So if you edit this field, you would be able to see like a LinkedIn, a resume, because you picked up a resume from your import file. The colors are being picked up from here, and you have all other custom fields that you would be able to see on your roll card here when you edit the roll cards. So yeah, that's briefly how you cover the custom fields and data import. There are just two small, I just want to talk about two other options that you can build your chart. And one of that is when you go back to new chart, you can manually build a chart from here, say build a chart, put it your chart name, select a template, and you can edit the template and create one for yourself. Or there's another option, which we also give you out of the box integrations, which is here. You would be able to see all the options that we have from Google Workspace, that's Google Drive, Google Sheets, G Suites. And from Microsoft, you have Microsoft Azure 80, Microsoft Teams, Office 365. We have a beta version of Salesforce getting ready. So in case if you would be interested, you can always reach to us at support@organimi.com and we can further talk about it. And the last one that we have, which is NSFTP integration. So yeah, these were a couple of ways of building your chart and adding custom fields. That's all that I had to talk about this topic. I'll now pass it on to Brett to talk about how do you create and add and update your custom fields.
you should be seeing the chart here. My chart's a little bit different than Vandana's, a little bit simpler. It's called, my organization is called A Plus Consulting, and I have this one chart here, and we'll jump around a little bit as we go through this, but it's a 50-person chart. One of the things that Vandana mentioned, when you go to create your custom fields, there's a number of different custom fields that you can create. That's under settings in the organization and under fields. And so I have these 4 custom fields. I have a preferred first name, I have salary, bonus amount, and office location. And one of the things I always like to point out is that you can assign custom fields to a role or a person. If we go back to the chart, I also always like to point this out again. Organimi charts are role-based. So remember that when you first set up the person here, they're usually then in a role. So if I create a role like junior product manager here, this role is going to be vacant. So I don't have any specific person in this role. So in Organimi, you create the roles or the positions in your company, and then you add the people from either from your talent pool, which you can always show here with the assigned, unassigned, or all. And you can create people on the fly. Well, via the import, will create them as well. So the import creates both the roles and the people at the same time, but there is a distinction between a role and a person. And again, if you look at this card and you see Ellen's role here, here's her custom fields, her preferred first name, her salary, and bonus. Because I'm the admin, I can see that. But if I look at her role here, I can see that there is a office location custom field attached to that too. So just wanted to point that out. And as we jump back into the custom fields, one of the things that we've recently cleaned up a bit is these tag-based pick list type custom fields. So you can have single pick lists or multiple pick lists. So if you wanted to, you have a new office here. For example, I've opened my office in, say, Seattle, and you just add that to that. And now it's a little bit out of sync here, so I can sort this alphabetically. If you want to do like a tag field, you can use a multiple pick list where you can choose more than one item. You can also allow people to add items in multi-pick lists or deny that. And again, in this case, this is attached to the position. So the positions or the roles are in this particular office. So I'll update that field. If I look at salary again, just to show you that this is a private field. And so what private fields mean is that they don't appear on public shares, and they don't appear to people that are set up as readers. If you want to add people to your chart, this is where you do this in the user permissions. So you can add a new user who is, for example, a viewer, and then they wouldn't have access to any of those public fields. So just to clarify that a bit. And again, this UI is changing. So I'll show you some a new thing that we're adding either this week or next week, but this UI is changing slightly because it is full screen at this point. But we have things like currency and date, and the pick list, which I showed, are Boolean values. If you use location here, it's actually a map location. So it requires like a geo point versus what I did with the custom field for the dropdown, which is location, which allows just kind of text. So once you have your custom fields set up, and as Vandana showed, when you import them, they get imported with each of the people. As I showed here, these custom fields are set, and I usually want to then show them in the role card. So I go into my themes and I edit my theme, and then in this fields area, this is where I would add this role card. So for example, if I wanted to add office location to the position, I'd put that in here, and I have some settings here. So I could make this smaller. I can put it in a square box, or I can take it out of the box. And I actually want this to show up under the job title. So I drag this up here, and then you see that's under the job title. The other thing that I also imported for this this particular file is preferred first name. So right now I can put preferred first name in the list. Let me make it a bit smaller. I can change the the font so it's a little bit less visible for some reason I want to do that. And then I can save that. So now I get my roll card the way I want. But this, one of the things that's hard to do right now is this name is full name right now. And so if you have a preferred first name, you can't attach that to the last name on the same line. So that's one of the things that we're adding this week. And I'll show you that in a second. But just again, you can add salary. And if you add salary or bonus amount here, those will not show up then for on the public shares or to people who are set up as viewers. So I wanted to jump over. I'm going to actually switch my screen over to one of our staging environments. So this isn't actually released yet. Unfortunately, we had a couple of issues with QA, so we wanted to try and get this out today for the webinar, but it'll be out later this week or tomorrow. We're changing the custom fields look a little bit. So this is a similar setup. And you'll see here in my custom fields, again, everything here is the same. But this looks a little bit different in terms of now I have a salary field. And when I edit that, I have a little, a cleaner dialog box. I have my, I set my currency type. This is a private field. These are the same fields as before. In my office locations, again, I have an indication of these in the order. I can add Seattle. And the new thing here that I really wanted to show you is something we call computed fields. So you can add a new custom field that is field type computed. And this allows you to join various fields. So I'm going to create one here called full name. And what I'm going to do is use that preferred first name and the last name together to create a full name that fits on one line in my card. So I'm going to grab a field here that says, I'll scroll down to my custom field, which is preferred first name. Then I'll add a space, and then I'll add the person's last name. And so that gives me a view. Sample value is the custom field. There's a description over here of how to kind of set up some of these formulas, and I'll add that to my custom fields. And then I'll just jump back into my org chart here. And I'm going to change out where we had the nickname. So I'll go into the theme and the fields, and now I'm going to use full name. And you'll see now I'll style this down, leave it at 14, make it italics. And it looks similar to what's there, but I have Chuck Chapman and Abby Armstrong because people wanted to use a different first name. And then I can just delete that name field, and I have this full area here. One thing to note, we have role specific themes right now. So I have the assistant who has their own set of fields. So I'll do the same thing here where I'll take away the preferred first name, add full name, set that styling the way I wanted it, and then I'll remove names. So you can set specific formatting issues on each of the role types, like assistant roles or department roles, etc. So now this chart now has my preferred first name with my last name. And I wanted to show you one other computation that we're going to do here around some of the numeric custom fields. So we have this salary and we have bonus. So these are two separate fields, and I want to combine that into what you might call an on-target earnings for someone. So I could create a new field here. This is going to be a computed field. We'll call it OTE. And then we'll set this up. We'll add our currency here because that gets lost when we do a computed field. Hit enter. And then we add, before we add that, we want to add these parentheses because we're going to do a numerical calculation. So we could add a number if you wanted to use a multiplier, but we're going to use a field, a currency field here, the person's salary. And then we're going to add to that the person's bonus amount. And then we'll end that parentheses. And you'll see now we have a new field that's calculating this total of these two fields together for each person in the chart. And if we save that, and pardon me, we'll see that show up here in our list. We go back to our chart. And now we want to show that on the theme. And that, I think I missed something here. Let me go back quickly. I wanted to make that a private field. So I'm not sure I did that. Let me go back here. I look at OTE, and this is not private, but since so now it's a private field, I update that, and it shows this is a private field. So on the chart, if I were to add that to the roll card here, I can go in, edit my theme, go into the fields. There's OTE. When I click that, you'll see that I want to put it in a box. I want to make it smaller, and I want to make it a little bit less subtle, a little bit more subtle. And I want to include the label so that people will know what that number is. And so that's something that you can add. Now, if you do a public share, this will not show up. It will not show up to people who are viewers. And I'm not going to show you that, but you can take my word for it, or you can try it. This is, again, some of the new things we're adding with custom fields. I can move on to the next part of the demo here. In terms of printing. So there's a lot of print templates are something we introduced in version 7.1. It allows you to save your print settings in multiple ways. So, and now we've added the ability in the public shares to allow people to print again. We had a bit of a security issue in version 6 where if you allowed people to print, they could change the way the print looked and change the chart. So we ended up taking printing away for a while, and we had to add it back. And we've introduced this concept of print templates that allow you to set up multiple layouts that will then get updated as the chart gets updated. Again, they're based on some rules. So I'm going to show you some of the settings in there and build a paginated chart here for this particular organization. So again, you click print. And there's this massive amount of settings. So we have a paginated core chart, which is a print template that we might want to use. We could create, so we just wanted a single page chart that, again, when you click single page, it says, okay, I'll fit as many as I can on the single page before it gets too big. So this is just showing the first 3 levels, which is, 10 or 12 people of the 50-person chart. If you click print all levels, now you've got this big chart that if you tried to print that on 8.5 by 11, it's probably not going to look that great. You can see the logo up here. That was the question earlier. That's branding on this. This is not exactly what you see as what you get view on the preview. It comes out similar to this, but sometimes the sizings are changed. So if I wanted to save this, I could create a new template and call this the single page view. And that is now a template that's set up like this. So I have that here, but I actually want to go back to my paginated. Actually, before I do that, let me set up. There's some other things you can do here. Instead of printing all levels, you can print from a selected role. So for example, I have Danica here, who's the VP of marketing. So I can just print VP marketing here. And I select Danica. And so then that expands her team, but it just shows her team. And so that's something I could save as a print template as well. I'm not going to do that, but that's just something you could do here. So I'll go back to this single page, show all views. We have a number of questions sometimes about optimize file for. And so this creates a PDF that you can print, but there's different sizes of PDF. So if you use optimize screen, if you're ever going to share the PDF with someone who's going to view it on a screen, you want to use this setting because it creates the full size rendering. So it will look, it will use as many pixels as it needs to show the fonts in the size that you set in the template in the theme. And that's something you want to use if you want to share it. If you want to print it, then you're going to pick a paper size. Again, you can make it really big if you want to posterize it, or you have a roll printer, for example, you want to print it on. There's some ways to do that. I have a roll printer here. If you want me to do print for you, I sometimes do that. I'll choose letter. If you're in Europe, you choose A4, etc. So there's all the different print sizes here. And then this, if you printed now at letter size, you're not going to be able to read it when it prints because it'll be too small. The fonts have to shrink down to fit. So you typically want to print it this way. And then once you print that, you'll see it, the PDF will be full size, and you'll be able to zoom in and see all the people that are there. We've added this tab for print history, which shows you the printing that's in progress. This again is a 1-page print. And I don't want to save my template because I just wanted to make this version. And then you can download that PDF, and you'll see, if I open that here, you'll see that it's wide. The logo is small, but these, if I zoom in to 100%, then I've got, full size rendering here. So this would be something if you wanted to share it with people who are going to look at it on the screen. If you want to set it up so you can print it like booklet style, for example, you want to choose a paper size. Let's go back to letter. And you'll want to use multiple pages, or paginated printing as we call it. And there's a couple of different ways to break by. We're going to use a break by manual, which allows you to, in a couple minutes, kind of break this chart up. So I'm going to want to show all of this team on a different page. So I create a new page from the president and CEO. Can't really see that there, but that says page 2. And then I want to make this still a bit smaller. So I'm going to break the controller out to another page. Oh, sorry.
Sarah's texting me.
And then I'm going to break out these two. I'll just leave it like this for now. So this is legible on a page, so you might want to stay here. If I go to page 2, this is still a pretty big chart. So I'm going to break out this group here, which is worldwide sales, and I'm going to also break out this marketing group here. So now I've got a chart that fits on the page a bit better. I can trim this up with the direct reporting directions. So I can change this to a grid that instead of 2 by 2 is actually 2 columns by 3 or 4 rows. And that'll tighten that up a bit. I'll set this one to be vertical. Again, so I'll just use the vertical there. There's also a new setting we have here called cluster. So it takes away the lines for people in the bottom reports. So you can kind of play around with this. This is going to be 1 column then, and 3 or 4 rows. And so you can kind of play around with the page. I'll jump to page 5. This one looks pretty good. Sorry, page 3 that was. This one I can change. Again, I could drop these to vertical, or I could leave that there. And you kind of just play around with it a bit until you get something that looks the way you want it to look. There's one thing I wanted you to notice here is that in this view, this is page 5 and this is page 4. So this creates a sort of list of pages or a table of contents. And I can just change that. I can just drag them up and drop it. And so now this becomes page 4 and this becomes page 5. And I can move that around as I like. So now I have in a couple minutes, I created a legible 5-page print. I can save that as, sorry, I did all that on a single page view. So I would have to do that again. And I'll just do it really quickly here. And so I have this 5-page view, and now I can save that as my template, and I can print that. And I'll show you that that this actually, when it does the PDF, it resizes the pixels so that they all fit nicely on the page size that you created. So you can see this is generating the pages. It generates the pages in parallel. So this, if you have a 400-page print, this goes a lot faster than it used to. But here's the PDF of that paginated print. So I've got this first page that shows there. I've got page 2, I've got page 3. And so this you could put into a board book, or you could print for a presentation if there's something that you wanted to do like that. So that is really some of the new settings. There's also up here, there's the header area. So these are covered in the layout. So if I wanted to, there's a number of things like LinkedIn icons, the company logo, role counts. I can also set a legend if I have a legend set up for this chart, and then the header and footer. So for example, this is the winter 2002 core org. And I can make that bigger. And then I can add a subtitle if I wanted to do that. I have a confidential piece under here. I can turn off the footer if I don't want that, etc. And then that allows me to go back and save that as the print template. And next time I come back, that will be here. So that is a bit about printing and creating a book. So I've got like the single page print that is a large PDF. And then I have this custom manually paginated version of the PDF as well that I just showed here. And so where this is valuable, in addition to the printing piece, is in sharing. So right now, when I share, I can create a public share of this chart. And if I create a public link, and then I grab that link and I open a new tab and I paste that in. This is what that view looks like. So this comes up. This is available to anyone because it's a public share. But you'll see, I don't think I have the private field shown, but I could show you the private field thing here. If I just jump back here and I add salary to my theme. Sorry, I'm jumping around a bit here, but I think a couple of people had asked about this. So if I add salary, which is a private field, and I save this, and then I go back to the public share and I refresh that. You'll see that it shows up for my view because I'm actually logged in when I'm viewing this. If I create, I'm going to have to, I think, create an incognito window here. I gotta show this now that we're on the process. So if I add this incognito window, I paste this in, you'll see the same view, but there's actually no salary shown here. So just to show you that, that's what the view would look like. Close that up. I go back here to my shared view, go back here to my regular view. I'm just going to take that off. And then when I'm in my sharing, what I can now do is create this setting with my settings. Again, I don't want to show all the other views. So I want to just show the chart view. And then here's some of the branding. So the organization logo and the name, I could allow those. And now I can choose one of my print templates. So what I want to share is the paginated print template. And so this will allow anyone who's viewing the public view to only view a pre-created PDF that you set up as the administrator. So again, that is that's saved now. If I go back to my shared view of that or my public view, and I'll do a refresh. And now you see we got rid of those other view options, but we also now have this print button. And this it has a little bit of text here that describes that you can only print from templates that have been pre-shared by your administrator. And if I download that, it shows me that this print was created today. It will allow you to regenerate the print after 24 hours. So once a day, these prints can be generated. So as the administrator, if the chart changes, you don't have to recreate it each time. It will follow the same rules and people can update the view and download that. And again, you'll see that this is that PDF that we created with the pagination. Okay, I'm going to turn it back over to Vandana for part 3 of the demo.
Perfect. Thank you. Thanks, Brett. Thanks for all the details on print and create custom fields. I'm going to quickly walk through the account and user management. which is how does somebody manage their account and its users? So Organimi user permissions allows you to add many organizations, and you can navigate and manage your organizations and charts between various permissions that we have, which is account owner, administrators, editors, and viewers. So I'll quickly go share my screen. Yeah, and then give you a walkthrough of how do you manage all of that. Perfect. So is this what you this is what you will see on your screen right now. And then you have manage organizations here. When you click on manage organizations, you would be able to add any new organization that you have in your company. And then say, for an example, that you have a marketing team in your organization. You want to like have different kind of organizations for each of your businesses or your department. You can break it down like that. You can break it down that if you have merged with another company, if there has been a merger or an acquisition, and then you would want to separate that down based on different organizations, you would be able to do that as well. So when you create your new organization here and click on save, you would be able to see marketing here, and then you can go ahead, start creating your charts, and then you will be able to see all your charts inside of this organization. But if you go back to the settings here, and I'm only talking about user permissions in this organization, which is marketing, how would you be able to add your users? And then how would you be able to assign those permissions to each of those users? What also happens is not necessarily the user list that you have on the marketing here would be the same user list on my organization or practice organization. You can have different people as users with different permissions based on the settings that you give them for each of these organizations that you have here. So that's how you will be able to manage your organizations and users who are a part of each of those organizations. So yeah, you already see that there's a user being added here. If you want to go back and add more users here and you don't want to switch between views, you can also show user permissions for each of the charts that you have here. You would be able to see options of charts within of the marketing organization. I go back here and then I click on new user. There are 4 permission types that we have in the account right now. That's an account owner, account administrators, editors, and viewers. Editors have only access to view the chart. Editors only have access to edit the chart. Owners and administrators have access to the entire organization, which means which is the marketing organization. They will be able to view all the charts. They will be able to access, work on them, edit, view, etc. That holds for both account owners and administrators. Account administrators are people who also have access to the license. I mean, they are also the license owner of the app. But the organization administrators can only be like they have the access to all the organizations, but not to the license of the app. Right, so you want to go ahead and add a new editor here. You would be able to add you would be sorry, not add, you would be able to give them access based on the charts, which means if you had multiple charts under marketing, right now I haven't created any, you would be able to see the list here, and then you can check box selecting what chart that you would like to give them access to in terms of editing. You can go ahead, put it their email here, say if it's the marketing ID here, and then you say .com. Yeah, I click on add email. You can put a message here. Sorry, I did not select the chart because there isn't any. So sorry for switching back. I'll go to the settings here, go to user permissions. Yeah, and add new user here. Go back to adding as an editor, and then you can choose a webinar chart here, the one that we just created in the demo, add the email. Add emails here, put up a message if you want to let them know of anything that, hey, why don't you just view this chart and give me what your feedback or your suggestions are? You can go ahead and put a message here and click on send invitation. The person would receive an invite. They would just simply click on the link that's on the invitation email, and then they would be redirected into the app using their login to access the chart that you've given them as a part of as an editor permission. So similarly, you can go ahead and add as many users that you would want for each of these organizations, and then even select their user permissions. Besides of that, in case so we've seen a couple of customers come back to us saying that, hey, you know what, I'm going to be leaving this organization, or I'd rather have already left and this license is in the name of somebody else. I want the account to be transferred to us. So just as a recommendation, before any person leaves the organization, what we would only recommend you to do is click on the new user, give them the new account and account owner permissions, which means just invite the email here and send them the invitation. Once they accept the invitation, it would be to the new person already. So then you don't have to take the hassle of once the person has left the organization. Um, so that's just a recommendation that we want to give you, that before any person leaves, this is what you can follow as a process. Yeah, this is everything that you have on organizations, users, and user permission. I'll now quickly give you a walkthrough of how do you manage your account and your billing information as well. So you would see the initials on the top right of your on the app, and that's when you click on that, you would be able to see my account. When you click on my account, you would be able to see your plans. You would be able to see your info. Yeah, so this is another way, again, that we would like to recommend that if a person is leaving the organization, why don't you just change your email and put up a new password and save it here? So this way that's the new ID that's been given, or the change of email that's been given to your account or to that particular license. So you can go ahead and change your information here. This is usually done by account owners or organization administrators. Yeah, and when you go to plan account details, you would be able to see that if you're on a trial, you would be able to see that, and then you would see your billing information. The reason that I'm put on a trial right now, because I want to give you I want to even let you know that how you would be able to upgrade on the app once that you've done a trial plan. Or if you're already an existing customer, it is very simple. You would also see your plan details here when you click on more details. You would be able to see the kind of people that you have, the charts that you've created, the admins that you have, the fields, and you would be able to view your organization as well with all the billing information. We also give you access to update all your billing information here. And as existing customers, that tomorrow when your company is growing, which is fantastic, and you need more people to add onto your chart, besides of what you see here as 1,000, and now tomorrow you want to add another 250 people, it's a very, very simple step of doing that on the app itself. But nonetheless, if you still want to get in touch with support and they could help you out to upgrade your plan from the backend, we are also happy to do that. But just as an owner, you have full access on the app to go ahead and upgrade your plan limits. What you simply would just have to then do is click on upgrade here. You would choose the new number of set of employee limits that you have. Say from 1,000, now you're a company which has flourished over the full 1 year, and now you want to add another 1,000 people. So you can choose your payment plan, which means if it's already an annual, I recommend let it be on annual. Also, that it's like a cost saver that we would want to recommend when you take an annual plan. You select your payment plan as annual. If you're on a basic plan, but you wish to upgrade to a premium, only because it gives you a dedicated onboarding assistance. We give you import and integration features. We also give you hosting options on different servers. You can go ahead and just select our premium plan, click on select on the plan here, and it automatically convert for you the total amount that you need to pay us. You need to pay to increase your plan limits, which is like 1440 here in USD. And you would also be able to see all the plan features that we have for you at this point in time. Once that you have selected here, you would be able to go ahead and do pay and upgrade. Just go ahead. The reason why it's not showing up here is because you can go ahead and select the country, so it accounts the currency for you at that point in time, in case if there's any conversion outside of USD. And if supposedly there's somebody from maybe Australia who's trying to purchase the app, so that the billing country would be Australia, whatever conversion it would take, and then in USD, just click on pay and upgrade. You can go ahead and use any active credit card that you have, or wire transfer. There are multiple payment options that we have. Of course, we can discuss this whenever you have questions with us. But yeah, we give you a whole lot of an option that you can go ahead and pay and upgrade on the app itself. Yeah, so that's everything that I had to cover in terms of user management and the billing information.
We just went through a couple of things today in terms of import. There is a video that Vandana pointed out. If you want to look at, there's 4 scenarios of imports shown in that video. If you want to take a deeper look into how to set up your CSV file, that's there. And then the custom fields, the new stuff should be out next week to allow you to do computed fields. Print templates, again, we'd encourage you to check out manual pagination and the quick layout tools that we've added to that to create your PDFs. And then again, account user management, how you can invite people as viewers or editors. And remember, the organization is sort of the key where all of the talent pool, all the custom fields are at an organization level. So typically people might use those to represent business units or just separate divisions inside companies. Most people only ever have one organization, but you can have multiple if you want to separate people from other people. And reach out to us at support@organimi.com if you have questions, and we all monitor that, and we'll get back to you as we can.